Ants go marching one by one, hurrah, hurrah. The ants go marching one by one, hurrah, hurrah. The ants go marching one by one, the little one stops to go. All marching down to the ground, dum dum. The ants go marching two by two, hurrah, hurrah. The ants go marching two by two, hurrah, hurrah. The ants go marching two by two. The little one stops to tie his shoe.
Guys, I'm pumping down the old Nordine here. Medallion series Nordine. Same one that came on my modular home many years ago, 2003. So I'm gonna pump it down. Guys, we got our electric furnace here. Never see one this new. It's kind of shocking. And our coil, Vortex coil. And our Heil heat pump. So I'm gonna wheel that sucker over there and take it out of the box. Our Heil all getting ready to be put in as soon as my recovery is done, which it is about done. Here's our Heil unit laying anyway. I need to go pick up another pad. The one is way below the surface there. So our other unit's over there getting ready to go to the scrapyard. I'm gonna go pick up a pad, some odds and ends so we can get to work out here. Our Heil sitting on the pad. I put it on the risers down there. Make sure it's got a little bit of height to keep it clean. I'm gonna head off to do a service call in Leland. And I'll be coming back over here with some washable filters for that unit.
For 4 miles.
And guys, I am on I-140 West, which I'm going to continue on for 4 miles until I hit US 421 South. And I'm heading over to Leland to take a look at a house that looks like it had a backed up drain. Goodman air handler. I think the air handler's in left-hand discharge. The old Goodman's in left-hand discharge used to grab water out of the pans real bad and sling it down the ductwork with the blower. I think that's probably what happened, but we're going to take a look at it. Alright guys, looking a little sweaty. Yep. Sorry, I didn't get too much film of that particular call because the gentleman pretty much, we stayed together and talked the whole time. He's a nice guy, moved down from New York. We were talking about New York because some of my family lives up there too. Or my grandmother lived up there until she passed away a couple years back up in Rochester. And we were talking about going up to the lake and how the lake was the coldest place on earth when the wind was blowing in the wintertime. And I guess that's what sunk the Edmund Fitzgerald. So I'm heading back to the job, the install job my brother is on. I had to pick up some filters. You can see over here is one of those mobile home filters. And the lady didn't want to reuse those, even though they fit perfectly. She wanted to get something new because these are cut, had a little bit of jagged edge on them, so I can understand that. So we're gonna find some like washable filter I can cut to fit, and we can just lay on top of the coil. Putting about 7-8 ounces of refrigerant, trying to get our subcoolant near 10. We're up near 8. We'll give it a few minutes. Starting her up, running good. Gotta unload the truck, but these guardians won't let me be. Hey guys, I'm just gonna be your buddy. No need to run away. Don't get excited. Okay. Guys, we're looking at this duct and re-insulating here, and I'm getting a lot of, you see condensation down there flopping from the supply duct because it's so cold. Let's see. Really great connection down there. Not good. Guys, you can see the sweat along the bottom of the air handler here. I've re-insulated the bottom of the plenum, but it's still awful cold coming out. 50 degrees because of how it's zoned, which I'll explain a little bit when I leave. We redid the drain last time, so some other things need to be repaired. I'll probably take that up right there too, but the bypass is closed, and I'll explain why that is too. The imperfect zone system, the only kind of. Well guys, I'm sweaty as a swarthy bitch. I just came out of the attic. I told myself I'm not gonna be up here long. I don't need my fan. You know, that was a fucking mistake. Should have taken my fan. My fan is so light and mobile, yet I resisted, and I paid the price of a couple gallons of sweat. Oh yeah, it's fantastic. But I had to rewrap that bottom of that particular duct because water ran into it when that drain overflowed. So I rewrapped that, and I cut along the bottom and took it off. The biggest pain in the butt on that duct, you have to kind of climb around it to the back of the attic to get to it because there's ductwork coming off of it everywhere. It's not done in a way where you can access it real easily, which is kind of a pain in the ass, but you know, it is what it is. So I replaced that. I had Reflectix. You know, there's different opinions on Reflectix. It's real easy for me as a service guy to carry some Reflectix, so even the little 2x rolls or 18-inch rolls. So I carry those. I double it up. Again, I don't know what the R value of doubled up Reflectix is. You know, with the airspace they do better, but I don't know what happens when you just double it up. So maybe someone knows the answer to that one. I do not. Maybe it doesn't mean anything, and I wasted my time. Who knows? I know we're at least R4, if not R5 or 6. So I finished that up, and what I noticed when I was sealing it up and putting it back together was there was a lot of air coming in from around the connection to where that duct fit the newer air handler, because there was an older one there originally and they fit that newer one in there. So I tried to seal up as many of those with tape as I could. I got a lot of them. I could tell some of the air was still leaking, but it wasn't quite that rush of air like having an open outlet in the attic. It was a lot less than when I started, so I told the lady there was a lot of air leaks. I sealed up as many as I could, and she was thankful. And the only way to really get it complete is to rip that insulation off completely, because you could really see around the collars coming off that duct where there was a little bit of mold growing around the collars where it had been really wet right there. So the insulation's real thin, or there's no insulation right there. There's just tape kind of where two pieces of insulation meet. There might be a gap and a piece of tape put over them. You can tell where that open area is because there's a little mold line right there. But that's it for this call, and I guess I'm off to the next one. I am heading off to a call this morning. Unit I put in about a year ago. He said the outdoor unit's not running, so I'm gonna go check it out. It is a Nordyne unit, and I've had issues with some of the Nordyne units I put in the past where the run capacitors are complete shit and go out after about a year. Also, he had some drainage issues. His drain just, for some reason, the trap got clogged up 7 months into running. So I'm gonna check that as well. So we'll see what's going on there. Right now, we're waiting for a hurricane. I don't even know what hurricane it is. It's not a hurricane anymore, probably. It's centered over Justin Gonzalez's house, but we're waiting for it to come hit North Kakalaka as a tropical storm. But I'm trying to get these calls in before that happens. So I got 1, 2, and then a meeting. So we'll see how many of those I can actually do before I have to come home. Yep, it's a drain. Good morning, everybody. I was just heading out to a job. It's Labor Day now. One job today, because a lady called me a couple days ago and I said I couldn't get out there till this morning, so I couldn't come out there yesterday. We had family functions. So I'm heading out to a job. I installed a compressor in this job a few years back, and it says tripping the breaker, so hopefully we don't have another dead compressor. It's a less than optimal situation. I think it's a 2009 Goodman dry. Well, it's either, it might be a dry charge, like a 2010 dry charge, and it's hooked up to like a 1990 something Ream air handler. And I do believe the TXV in that air handler wasn't working very well. Someone on these Ream units, they'll have a TXV and a piston for metering device. It'll have a TXV, then after that they'll have a oversized piston as well. And it won't be a normal piston, it'll be a real big one. But these geniuses who put this Goodman in were halfway decent. And what I mean is they decided they would change the piston to the one that came with the Goodman unit. But unfortunately that is not the right piston for the Ream air handler, because if they looked around the corner it had a TXV. So this thing was running real high superheat, and switched out the piston to the correct one, but the superheat was still pretty high. It would maintain between a 20 and 30 degree superheat, so it wasn't doing very well. It would cool, but again, not an optimal situation. Of course, the coil sizes are off of where they should be for a 13 SEER heat pump. So it's been through the mill, so we'll see if it killed another compressor. If so, then hopefully we'll change out the entire system, because I hate to put another compressor in the damn thing, have it go out. But yeah, I was watching Greg Fox this morning. It's number 5 out of 5. Well, 5 out of however many he's doing. Business videos is pretty good. I didn't get to watch the whole thing because I went to a bad signal area. But I left off, he was talking about Home Advisor, Yelp, and things like that. A lot of that I have no experience with. Yodel. I apologize. I have to do it every time I talk about Yodel. I'm not even quite sure what Yodel is, to be frank with you. I'm a very bad businessman. Well, I'm out here on a Goodman unit, and I checked the run capacitor, said the compressor's not working, said it tripped the breaker, then all of a sudden it stopped tripping the breaker. So I have 2 of the lines to the compressor here. Open line. And these aren't the common, so it's not thermal overload. We attach it to the common. Open line. We have 112.4 pounds here. I want to check and make sure just in case it's blown the power pack a little bit underneath it. Let's see. I don't want to die. Interesting.
Zachary, I have the system inside in the off position. Is that right for what you want?
Has it been off the whole time?
I turned it off Friday night because it was just running, just the fan. You know, once
But the fan was still running when I got here.
But that's what I don't understand.
But it was set in off inside.
It's set on off inside.
Huh.
Because I was sitting there thinking, how could the fan be running? I don't.
It
hear
shouldn't be.
In the,
I was kind of wondering that myself, because once I turned it off here and looked down at the relay, you see it's energized whenever it's running. It wasn't energized.
oh,
So something has gone wrong inside.
okay.
And the fan's receiving power. That's why I was running slowly as well.
Okay.
It's getting sort of it's getting like a backward signal of
charge.
electricity from a different place. And
Okay, but I didn't know if you wanted it that way or if you wanted it in the on position.
you can leave it off. It's fine.
Okay.
When I put the meter on the leads that are going to the compressor, it showed that there was no connection inside. So I'm trying to see why it's saying that, because it's supposed to be a degree of connection, so to speak.
Right. Okay.
Something very bad has happened to this compressor. Oh, that fell off. No short to ground. It runs really quiet. 21 volts from the defrost board to the common on the capacitor, which is the run winding. So from common to run, 21 volts. So it's trying to run. Alright, we have 21 volts perhaps coming from a high resistance across the fan motor. I'm not sure. This is kind of an interesting situation. So 21 volts. So we'll see what happens when we push the contactor in and put power through on that other leg, so our load is on that fan motor with that high resistance. Let's see what happens as far as the amps. Not too bad. Let's turn it on. Let's see what happens. Still have our 21 volts here. Let's see what happens when we disconnect that common from the fan. That was an interesting call, guys. Turns out the inside of that compressor, which pretty much was chopped salad, I guess. I'm not sure. Can't see the inside, but open line on every single line. Compressor's cool. No issues there. This compressor, something happened to it. It tripped the breaker. And then nothing. So it burned up. Something bad happened to that compressor. The fan running all the time was pretty interesting. And what had happened is the fan was running. I'm watching the traffic in front of me roll in random directions. Where you driving, buddy? Good morning, guys. I am heading downtown again, downtown Wilmington. Have to check out an AC, and the guy says he wants to clean it, so we'll see what it looks like whenever I get there at a barbershop. So we're gonna see what's going on down there. Have another preventive maintenance after that, and that's pretty much all for today. Not too busy today. It's been cooler the last few days, so it's kind of slowed down a bit, which is kind of nice. But tomorrow looks like I'll have 2 or 3 calls, so won't slow down too long. Looks like we're gonna be cleaning up a Goodman unit today. It's a lot of gas meters. I'm not quite sure that's good. So I go in to change, or not change, but turn on the disconnect. This is what I get. Awesome. Today I will surely sprayed the unit out, but it's sitting kind of on grade, so I don't want to put too much cleaner in it, or else it's just going to get bogged down in the bottom of it. Unless I build this thing up, which I'm not going to do right now until I run it. Spraying off the top there, trying to clean it off. I sprayed it off with the water hose, which is pretty good, just didn't put any cleaner on. Well, she's running a little bit above target. You know, we're not getting good airflow out of the top of the condenser here. We're getting a little bit out the side of it here. So we might have a non-OEM fan motor. Probably looks like the blade is fine. Maybe the motor itself is not. That's why we're getting these skewed numbers. It's still cooling inside, but my numbers are definitely high.